Hi fifth graders, today we're going to be learning estimating decimal products and quotients, lesson 6.8. So we've done a little bit of this before, we've done estimating a lot. We're going to use it in a little bit different capacity today. So normally we would estimate to make sure to see where our answer should be around. We estimated with fractions, with multiplication, division, in order to check our work and make sure that we got a close answer. So if you look at the problems that I put up here for you today, there is a decimal multiplied by a decimal, and this is the correct answer. These are the correct numbers in the answer. However, we need to figure out where to put the decimal point in. So we're going to use some estimation to help us with that, as well as what we did with our work with fractions, multiplying by numbers greater than 1, less than 1, and equal to 1, and what that does to our number. So let's take a look here. We have 12 and 2/10 times 1 and 9/10. These are both numbers that are greater than 1. Straightforward multiplication means our answer should be getting larger. I'm going to round this and make closer but easier numbers to make an estimate. 12 and 2/10 is about 12. And 1 and 9/10 is close to 2. If I do 12 times 2, I'm going to get 24. That's a basic math fact, straightforward, which means my answer needs to be close to 24. So in these numbers up here, these digits up here, where would I need to put the decimal point in order to make this a number that's close to 24? So if I put it at the end here, we're looking at a number in the thousands. Here, this was a little bit smaller, but we still have 231. If I put the decimal point here, we now have 23 with a part after it. So this is where I would want it to go, because this is the closest I'm going to get to 24. Over here, I only have 2. So my answer is going to be 23 and 18/100. Let's try another one. 36 hundredths times 422. Well, this number right here is less than 1. Since this number is less than 1, when I multiply 422 by a number less than 1, it's not going to get bigger, it's actually going to get smaller. For this decimal here, if I go down to 0, it's not really going to give me a good idea of where the number should be. If I go up to 1, I think I'm going to be too far off, but I know that I can find half of a number. So I'm going to use 5/10, which is half. And then I'm going to round this to the hundredths place, and that's about 400. Well, half of, multiplication means of, half of 400, half of 400 is 200. So where would I put the decimal point in these digits in order to make the number close to 200? Well, the closest I can get is if I put it right here. Over here we're in the thousands, and over here we're only at 15, making the answer to this problem 151 and 92/100. Let's take a look at our next example. This next example, I have 6 and 23/100. Well, that's pretty easy. That's about 6. I'll leave that there. And times 7/10. Well, 7/10 is close to a whole. So this one I am going to take up to a whole. But I did notice that 7/10 is less than 1, which tells me that my answer is going to be less than 6 and 23/100. So 6 times 1 is 6. So that means even though the answer is going to be less than 6, it does need to be close to 6. So I'm going to look here. I always start at the right, all the way right, and move over. Here I'm in the thousands, hundreds, tens, and here I have 4 and 361 thousandths, and 4 is the closest I will get to the number 6. So the answer here is 4 and 361 thousandths. Let's try our last multiplication problem. So for this multiplication problem, I do notice once again that I have two numbers that are greater than 1. So when I multiply, I will get a larger number. 4 and 25/100. Well, I can round that to 4. And here I have 81 and 16/100. I like to use multiples of 10 when I multiply because it's an extended fact. It makes it easier. So 81 is close to 80. And the decimals just get lopped off. Well, here's my basic fact. 4 times 8 equals 32, and I have 1 0, so a 0 on the end there, which means my answer has to be close to 320. So hopefully by now your eyes are starting to find those spots pretty quickly. I see that my decimal has to be here. This is my whole number, and if you need to box it out to make sure that you are close to that, you can do that. And that way you can see the whole compared to the other whole, and the rest is just a small piece. So this is how we're going to be using estimation in this lesson in order to figure out the answers to decimal products and quotients.